doing? This is Frank with Frankly Horse Racing, and we're going to do the late pick 5 at Thistledowns on Saturday, June 21st, the Ohio Derby Day. Let's get into this day. We're not going to go too deep. We're not going to make this very long. It's not going to be like a fool by the numbers. So I'm just going to give you my quick analysis per race, and then we'll give you selections. But as always, let's bring up the pace projector. So the first race is the 8th race, and this is the George Lewis Memorial Stakes at 1 1/16. If we look at the Timeform pace projector, it says there should be a fast pace. 7 looks like the deep closer, but as always, let's look at the numbers here. And it looks like Lust for Life and Shadowy and the 3 and the 12 and the 9 all are within 10 points on the front end. So that I agree with them. I think there will be pace depending on scratches. Remember, every day you may love a horse, but with scratches it may change the scenario of the race, so keep an eye on that. And I think I talked about that in my Ohio Derby selection show. So there's the pace on the first race. And so if we come back here, so this is our Ohio Derby Day. Again, it is races 8 through 12 on the late pick 5. So I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Late pick 5 races 8 through 12. So in the 8th race, my selections, I don't really have a firm top horse. These are the ones I'm sitting at. So I'm going to go a little deeper in this race. That is my strategy in the pick 5. The 11 and the 12 are about even to me, and I think the 8 or the 10 have a shot also in this race, depending on scratches and how the jockeys actually set this up, because 11 and 12 are coming, and 10 are coming from the outside here to 1 1/16, and you don't want to get dragged too far back at Thistledowns in most cases, unless there's a hard speed duel up front, which could happen here. But this is what I'm going to do in this race. When I go back, I'll probably do 2 different tickets. One, just my A horses, my top horses, and then my main one's going to be a little bit deeper. So I'm going to use the 11, 12, and then my last 2 horses, the 8, 10 in this race. So I will be using 4 probably in this race, depending on what happens for scratches. Let's go to the 9th race, which is the Daniel Stearns Cleveland Gold Cup, not God Cup. So anybody that sees that misspelling of mine, I see it, and you don't have to worry about typing in and sending me information on that. Let's get to the pace projector for this race. This would be the 9th race. And here's your pace projector. Looks like we have a reasonable pace. It doesn't look like it's going to be real fast, but let's look at the numbers. And the pace projector numbers show the 2 and the 8 actually have a pretty decent speed advantage over the 7, 1, and then lower, but it's not insanely separated. So they could go and beat each other up and set it up for a closer, but all I can do is go off what I see here. Saturday, again, may be a different story. So let's get back over to my selections. My selections are going to be, again, 2 horses on my A's, basically, or my top selections. Number 2, Boots Malone, and number 8, Super Wolf. But I have no problem using the 1 Fortissimo, which I used to like at shorter races, I believe. And then Low Bug. They're all pretty close. Who gets the best trip in this one? I think between these 4 is one to win. So I'm probably going deep in this race also, and I'll probably use all 4. But that means I'm going to have a single later, so I will let you know that one when we get there. Let's move on to the next race. The next race is a 6 furlong sprint, race number 10. Let's take a look at the pace projector from Timeform. It says it will be a fast pace. Number 5, the best closer, is actually not too far back. So let's take a look at the numbers at this 6 furlong race. Looks like we do have 2 horses, though, that I have a decent, I think, pace advantage in this one. And depending on the ride, where they're at, they're Ohio breds, okay horses, and some taking a stab, really jumping up class-wise. So I'm just going to stick with my handicapping in this one. And I do like the number 1, Authoritarian Girl. She's coming from the inside. If she gets a good ride, gets out of the gate and doesn't get stuck into the turn, I think she's got a great shot at winning this race right here. The only other horse I'll probably use is Lemon Moose, coming from the outside, but if it gets posted decently and can stalk, I think this one has a pretty good shot in this race. So I'm probably going too deep. As it is now, we'll see if there's scratches. In this one, I'm going to use the 1 and 11, and I might even single the 1, but I don't know. We'll see on race day on how we go with that, and only because there's so many horses, and this really does depend on who gets a good ride from the jockey, I think, in this race. So we're going to move now to race number 11, the Lady Jacqueline Stakes at 1.125 miles. You can briefly see my selections there, but let's go look at the pace factor here at time form, the prediction, see if we got anything that's a standout. It looks like we do have a pretty good grouping up front and then 2 closers. Let's take a look at the numbers. And we do. We've got the 3 all the way up to the 2 in this race. The 2, 6, 7, 1, 5, 3 are all decently close on the front end. So I agree. I think this very well could set up for a closer in this race, and that would be the 4, Just My Heels. So I'm going to use that as my my C selection. I think if they do get out there and there's not a lot of scratches, it could absolutely set up this one. So don't forget the 4 if she's okay odds using it in your horizontal. We'll see if I use her when I give my final selections at the end. But just letting you know that. But I still think it's a 2-horse race. The 7 and then the 6. And the 7, to me, has the most consistent numbers. The 6 popped a really high number here in the Apple Blossom against Torpedo Anna. But was that because Anna was in there and it got a higher rating? Could be. I don't know. So I'm going to go with consistency and the best numbers. Jose Ortiz and Rudolph Brissett on the 7 Pinoir. So let's go back over to my selection so you can see that. I'm going with the 7 Pinoir, if that's how you pronounce it. The 6, Where's My Ring? And then if there aren't any scratches, God, I'm probably going to have a ticket where I sneak that 4 in on top, because it shows to me the pace could set up for a deep closer. But it is a little smaller track, tight turns, you don't know. This one here, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and single the 7 in this one on my ticket. When we get to the end, we'll see how it looks, but I think that's what I did. I do like the 7. I do like the consistency. And if she doesn't get beat up on the front end, then I think she's a single for me. We're going to move to the Ohio Derby, race 12. Let's look at the pace projector first on this one. All right, let's bring this baby up again. Race 12, it's a grade 3 Ohio Derby. Here is the pace projector. They're saying it could be a fast pace. If I look at the numbers, I think if there is no scratch between the 6 and the 10, I believe there definitely is going to be speed up front, maybe to set up the closers, or at least the stalker closers. The 9 just broke its maiden. I think that horse could get out there and try to do the best they can to press her pace. It's such a big jump up against these horses. So let's look at the 9, who may press. His top number's a 101. He's working beautifully into it, and I do like Brittany Van Berg as a trainer, but it's going to be such a jump to get to, like, let's say a McAfee who is improving 3 straight races. I love that pattern. You've got Moplex down here, and Moplex is turning some decent numbers, was very consistent last year. I think he's going to have to be on the front end to win it or close, but this horse loves the battle. But I still think on the front end wise, I think Clever again. I'm drawing a total line through that race against Journalism. He was getting tired. I'm not even sure he likes the distance. He's bred for it, so I don't think that's a problem, but you never know. But as he was tiring, everybody's seen that race. Journalism, man, absolutely smoked him, and he almost went over the rail. I think it was a miracle that Jose was able to keep that horse upright, to me. And then you've got a chunk of Gold that's also got a 106 and a 115, was moving right up the ladder, improved 4 straight races, and his Tactical moved too quick on that Tistastic race, and I'm totally throwing a line through the Kentucky Derby. Just wasn't a good setup for him, and and other horses clearly were much better. And then, as we talked about, McAfee's got a great setup for there. So in this race here, my selections are going to be number 4, McAfee. I love the pattern. I love that he was closer to the pace than Hill Road last time. Hill Road nipped at the end. One more step of improvement. I think he's going to be very tough. I do like Chunk of Gold. I like Loveberry as a jockey. I think he's tactical in this one. And if the pace goes as fast as I think it sets up for these two for sure. And then Clever Again, I can't throw him out of there because he's a good horse. And he was just up against it last time and tired pretty decently. How does he come back from that race? I don't know. But if there is a scratch, let's say the 10 scratches, and Clever Again gets an easy lead out there, he's going to be pretty tough to reel in, I think, from either my 4 or my 2. So let's get to my selections for the pick 5 here in the Ohio Derby. Late pick 5. Here we go. I'm going to use the 8, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to use the 2, 8, 1, 7 in the 9th race. I'm going to use the 1, 11 in the 10th. I'm going to single the 7 because I got to have a single in there somewhere. I'm going deep. In the long run, you're going to be in trouble if you're constantly using a crap load of horses in every race. You're going to have great days, but you're going to have a lot more even to bad days. And then the last race, I think on this ticket, I'm going to use all 3 because I don't know if there's going to be scratches. And if Clever Again can get out there again and walk the dog, going to be very tough to catch. Although my top pick in that one, I do like the 4 McAfee Best. My ticket cost us $48. I probably will also do another ticket with just my A horses that I liked in the majority of these races. And then I'm going to wait and see scratches because, you know what? You've got to look at that on race day because things change. Anyway, if you've got your selections, your picks, and those that you like, let me know who they are and put them in the comments. I appreciate when you do, and I like answering them. Please subscribe and like. Help me grow this channel, and have a great week. I hope you hit some good ones out there. This is, again, Frank from Frankly Horse Racing. Be good, take care, and we'll see you soon.